Welcome back to Guru Beauty. I am Jodie and today it is the long-awaited review of the brand new NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. And you know, I do not review products unless I've had a really good chance to play with it. I've tried it under different conditions, I've tested it for long wear, I've had a chance to see how it mixes and is used with different products underneath and over the top, and also I've had a chance to play with different applications. So while this has been out probably for 3 or 4 weeks in Australia already, I really have not been ready to let you know my thoughts. While this foundation has been absolutely raved about by many people, this is not a winner for me. I'm going to go into why, but before I'll go into that, I'm going to let you know about my skin. I'll let you know what NARS claims about this product, and then we'll get into the particulars. First up, I am 38 years of age. I have many skin concerns, including large pores, hyperpigmentation, fine lines and wrinkles. I definitely want my makeup to last all day. I have a busy all-day job, Monday to Friday, and sometimes I'm doing things in the evening. I want my touch-up requirements to be absolutely minimal. I also want good coverage for my hyperpigmentation, and I do want to look luminous and hydrated and radiant as well, because I am getting along in age and I don't like looking sort of dehydrated and dull. So definitely the name of NARS All Day Luminous was something that appealed to me greatly, because luminosity is something that is fantastic for, you know, aging skin, but you know, it's just a trend right now. No matter what your age, I think luminosity is something that people are seeking. This is a foundation that, according to NARS, is oil free. It delivers full natural looking coverage with 1 drop for lightweight 16-hour wear. Does not include parabens, as I said, does not include oil, and according to Francois NARS, the founder and creative director, it's the first time that they've ever done a high coverage foundation. They've waited for the right moment. He says that the formula really had to be perfect. They have done clinical tests with consumers that have proven the 16-hour wear has passed the anti-humidity test and has been proven to improve skin clarity after 4 weeks. People either have said this is their absolute new amazing holy grail foundation that just blows everything they've ever used out of the water. Other people say that they cannot stand it and they are returning it right away. I'm definitely in the disappointed camp, and it's unfortunate because I really like NARS. I do want to mention that it is available in lots and lots of different shades, and I would definitely recommend, if you are interested in this foundation, going and getting tested and wear that foundation all day, because it can oxidize on some people. Just check how that looks throughout and at the end of the day for you. I have just ordered this online in the shade Santa Fe. Santa Fe is the shade that I was in Sheer Glow. This top one here is Santa Fe in Sheer Glow. It's more peachy toned than this pinky beigey tone in the NARS All Day Luminous. So overall, just go and get matched in store and just check if this is something you want, that it matches, because you know, it's an expensive foundation. This is a foundation that you do pay, you know, a significant amount of money for, 64 Australian dollars at Mecca, 48 US dollars plus tax at Sephora. The packaging is nice. It's a glass bottle, very sort of sleek. We've got frosted glass and the rubberized NARS material that is prone to smudging and fingerprints. It does come with a pump. Not all NARS foundations come with a pump, so this is a very welcome addition, and the pump does let out a very little amount of product at a time. So if this is something that only requires 1 drop, great that it doesn't dispense too much at a time. That's fantastic. They make very clear on the packaging that this is a product that you do need to shake well before you use. So every single day, every single time you use this, make sure you shake this foundation. I'll show you on my hand. There we go. 1 full pump, and hopefully you can see that liquidy foundation sliding down my hand. I have tried this with 1 pump. I've tried it with 5 pumps. I will say that this foundation does look better the less that you use. As you build up to get that full coverage that they claim, at least for me, the foundation gets more and more dull, it gets more and more cakey, and it's just not nice. For someone with things to cover, this is not a full coverage foundation. It's not a full coverage foundation. It's just not. It's not. It's not. Yes, for the amount that you use, you do get really decent coverage, but I would say this is a medium and you don't want to build this foundation. So that's sort of the first thing that I really don't like about this foundation. I can't stand full coverage claims that are not full coverage. It does depend on what your definition of full coverage is. My definition is, you know, you really can't detect the freckles underneath. You really can't see the skin discolorations if you have, you know, redness from a blemish that was, you know, a week or two old. You can't see that through that foundation. This you can, and today I am wearing that foundation, but I certainly have used concealer and powder over the top of those areas just to get that coverage. So it's not a full coverage foundation. If you try to build it, it's not a pretty picture. It gets dull, it looks yucky, it cakes. It doesn't give you full coverage. Next thing I don't like about this foundation is that it pulls in your pores. If you have dry skin, you're not going to like this foundation. I really don't think you are. I've seen a lot of reviews online from people with dry skin who find that this just sits and looks really yucky under flakes or any kind of textural issues on your skin. My textural issues have nothing to do with dry skin, but I have enlarged pores pretty much all over my face. This just sits in pores, and it happens to sit in pores whether you use a primer or not. It's weird and you can't blend it out. It's really, ugh. You know, on application, you want your foundation to look nice, and it just doesn't look nice on application. All you can see are foundation colored pools, spots on your face that you can't blend out, and I really don't like that. As far as how it wears reasonably well throughout the day. I certainly find that I still have some coverage throughout the day. It still looks pretty nice without a touch-up once I've done that initial powder, but because of the pooling in my pores, I do need to go over with a powder, like something light reflecting like what I'm using today, the NARS Loose Light Reflecting Powder in Translucent Crystal. I find that that extra bit of light reflection really helps to detract from that pooling in the pores and help me look luminous. Which brings me to another thing that I don't like about this foundation. I think whoever's sitting in that boardroom deciding on the best name for their foundations, I don't know, I think they need a few lessons in English. Sheer Glow, great foundation, really like Sheer Glow, but it's not sheer. In fact, it's more on the matte side than it is on the glowy side. And it's the same weird phenomenon with the NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. I don't find it luminous at all. If I do want luminosity, then I will wear a light reflecting luminous primer underneath and then some kind of light reflecting powder over the top. Then I'm luminous. This foundation on its own, not luminous. No, no, no. Weightless, yes. Luminous, no, no. More matte than luminous. It is available in quite a few different shades. That is a plus, and certainly if you like that really weightless light feel of a foundation that you get from those really liquidy products, then maybe you'll like it. The best way that I've found that this works is either without a primer or over a primer like the Hourglass Mineral Veil. Start with a very well moisturized face with this foundation. That will help in terms of it blending in and not sticking into your pores. One pump in your fingers, warm it up, rub, 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 and then press onto your face, press onto your face, and just keep pressing it in. Press, press, press in a patting type motion. I wouldn't rub it. I don't think this foundation performs all that well if you rub it, and I would consider other kind of, you know, luminizing products underneath or on top of it. With all of that said, I will go to the application and longevity test, and I'll be right back. I have moisturized very, very well. That's one of the tips for this foundation, and I'm going to shake the product very, very well. 2 pumps there on my hand. Rub your fingers together to warm up the product on your fingers, and then I'm going to press it onto my face. I think that that is probably the best motion for this foundation on skin. I find that, you know, when you drag it around, it does just kind of streak. Okay, so that is 2 pumps, really blended into the face, warmed up between my fingers, and really pressed into the skin. I've really made sure that I take the time with this foundation because it does have the tendency to sit on my skin, pool in my pores, just bring attention to all the wrong things. Now, they claim that this is a full coverage foundation with one pump. You see that I've used 2.5 pumps with my fingers, and it's a decent coverage. I would definitely describe this as a medium coverage right now. If you're a supermodel and you have nothing to cover, everything's a full coverage for you and you're very lucky, but this is not a full coverage foundation if you ask me. I still have freckles and pigmentation coming through. This is fine for every day, but it's not full coverage. It's just definitely not, and it's definitely not buildable. So I think that the color match Santa Fe is a good one for me. I really quite like it. The finish at the moment is quite luminous, but that's because I'm wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream as my moisturizer today. It will dry down to more of a demi matte finish. This is quite a glowy moisturizer. For me, this foundation needs it in order to be luminous. Looking really close in the mirror, I can still see this foundation, even with the warming up, even with the pressing of the fingers. I can see this foundation in little areas like around my nostrils here. I can just see it sitting on top of my skin. I can kind of see like it's caked. It's just not even. You can see it sitting on top of the skin, and that is why I have a strong dislike for this product. I'm going to work with it a little bit more. I'm going to put on the rest of my makeup, and I will be back to show you how it's kind of dried down, and we'll discuss powder then. I'll be right back. I am back now after applying the rest of my makeup, and the foundation still looks pretty luminous. Again, that is the moisturizer underneath the foundation. It is still looking yucky on my skin. So when you see it closely, you can see it just sitting on the skin. It hasn't sorted itself out. So I am going to be popping a little bit of powder over it. I'm going to be using the NARS Soft Velvet Loose Powder. And I'm just applying a very little of this powder because I don't want it to look any worse than what it already is. Just to my nose area and my T-zone, down to my chin and my jawline where foundation often transfers. I'll leave my cheeks as they are, and I have put a little bit of the Dior Star Concealer over bits of pigmentation just to get a little bit more coverage. But I'll be back to let you know how it's wearing throughout the day. I'm not impressed on application, so it's hard to get excited about what it's going to look like throughout the day, but I will be back to let you know. We are at the 12-hour mark with the NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation, and I would say that with a couple of touch-ups with powder, I would say there was definitely shine coming through today. I would say that the foundation probably looks better now than it did when I first applied it. Over the day, as I've like put my hands on my face, as I've touched up powder, as I've put blush back on my face, I would say that the foundation has sort of, you know, had a chance to work its way into my skin and be pressed in a little bit more. I'm still getting coverage 12 hours on, and I would say that the finish is pretty natural. So remembering that I have that glowy moisturizer on underneath, and remembering that I have had 2 touch-ups to my T-zone, it's not looking too bad. Just lets me down in real life up close in the mirror. I just don't like it. This is a foundation that does have a fairly long lasting ability, but it never sort of feels like it actually sets. It's got like a silicone-y feel, I guess, that sort of just sits on your skin and definitely does transfer. So do be aware of that. You know, I just can't love this foundation. I really love NARS. I've wanted to love this foundation, and it looks decent today at the 12-hour mark. It's just, I feel like you never know what you're going to get with this foundation. It mixes with products in a strange way. It mixes with brushes and sponges in a strange way, mixes with my skin in a strange way, and I just can't give it the guru thumbs up, unfortunately. So that's it from me. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. I expect more from NARS. I don't expect foundation to pull in my pores. I just don't love it. One thing I will say for this foundation is that it does photograph very well. It's a strange phenomenon that in person I really hate the way it looks, but it actually looks a lot better in photos and also with a flash than in person. So do bear that in mind. I'll include all of the ingredients that you can find in this product down below, as well as links if you are interested in finding out a little bit more. Please do bear in mind that many people love this foundation. I really don't like it, and I would not recommend that you purchase it if, like me, you have skin textural issues like pores. That's it from me. Please don't forget that this is just my experience. Lots of people love this foundation, so certainly do build up your own experience with this. Go grab a tester if you are still curious. Have yourself a fantastic day. Don't forget, you are beautiful. It's one thing to look at though, make sure you be it. And I will see you again really, really soon. Bye.